My name is Fiona Nuamanya and I am a business and HR consultant. I was invited here to take you through how to answer the top 7 interview questions. Hi, my name is Fiona Nuamanya and I am a business and HR consultant. I was invited here by Solomon King to take you through how to answer the top 7 interview questions. But before we dive into it, I wanted to give general tips on how an interview should be approached. Generally, it is important to note that an interview is not a Q&A session where the interviewer asks questions and you answer. An interview is a sales presentation or a sales pitch where you are the salesperson. So you have to sell yourself to the interviewer. 3 key things that you need to keep in mind as you prepare for an interview. 1 is to practice. It is important that days or even weeks before the interview, you practice with a colleague or a friend by going through common interview questions and being able to answer them so that you can know to prepare yourself adequately for the interview. I have found that this helps you to keep calm during the interview or even to deal away with anxiety, and it takes away the nervousness because you have been practicing or rehearsing for the interview. The second tip would be you need to be engaging. As I have said, this is not a Q&A session. It is a sales presentation. So you need to engage the panel, you need to engage the interviewers. You also need to ask them questions, or as you answer the questions that they have given to you, you need to make sure that they are engaged, you need to make sure, are they nodding? Are they, they may be nodding, maybe not, they may not be agreeing, but if they are nodding, it means they are following the conversation. The third tip is confidence. You need to be confident about who you are. And confidence generally comes about as a process of knowledge. If you know who you are, you know the job and the description and what the role entails, then you will be confident about answering the questions that the interviewer will throw at you. So now we are going to get into the questions. And the first question is, tell us more about yourself. Many people misfire on this question. But what the interviewer is looking for when they ask you to tell them about yourself, 1 is to generally give a brief overview about your life, both professional and personal. You need to really keep it brief by highlighting the work-related skills or the top skills that you have that you bring to the table. And then you need to talk about your achievements in both your professional and your personal life. What the interviewer is wanting to see is an all-rounded individual, and they would like to hear this during the first question. The second question is, what do you know about this company, or why do you want to work at this company? So here, what the interviewer is looking for is what people call a connection story. What connects you to that company? What research, when you do research about the company and you find out the products and the services that they sell or who their customers are, what is it about that that connects to you? Your emotional connection for wanting to be part of their story. Is it because of the kind of products that they produce? Is it because of the way they deliver their service and what they are known for? What is it that makes you want to be part of them? That is what interviewers are looking for in that question. The third question is, why should we hire you, or why should we choose you out of all the candidates we're interviewing today? So here, what you need to really bring out is what distinguishes you as a candidate. What makes you different from the other 10, 15 candidates they have interviewed that day, or they will interview for that position. So you need to talk about things to do with your skill set. Do you have a unique skill set that you think other candidates would not have? Or can you highlight a unique experience that you have had in your professional career that therefore makes you the best candidate for this job? The next question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So what an employer here wants to see, or the interviewer, is that the candidate has a long-term view of both their career, their profession, and even their role in the organization. They want to see vision. So here you can answer the question by talking about how you'll compound your experience, or even how you will grow in your role. What additional skills do you want to get? What additional certifications do you hope to get in the next 5 years? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Here the employer wants to see your sense of self-awareness. Again, I dare say, for you to say that you have no weaknesses does not score you any points on this question. We are human beings and everyone has a weakness. But what I would advise on how to answer this question is to focus on the job description. What are the roles as outlined by the job descriptions, and therefore what are the strengths and weaknesses that you have when you think about who you are? What are the strengths and weaknesses that you have that relate to this role? I'll give you an example. If you are applying for a role of a customer care executive, and we all know that a customer care executive needs to be patient, they need to be positive, they need to be smiley, and one of your weaknesses, genuinely your weaknesses, are impatience, you may not be well suited for this role, because if you are impatient, then this will compromise on how you deliver on this role. But it is also important to highlight how in the past you have been able to overcome your weaknesses. Or if you are aware of your weaknesses, what are those things that you have put in place, mitigating actions to ensure that every time you're having your weaknesses showing up, then you're trying to pull it up by being stronger on your strengths. The next question is a situational question. So actually there are 3, so I'll bundle them together. Questions like, how do you handle a challenge or a conflict? How do you work under pressure? And tell me about the last time a coworker or customer got angry with you and what happened. So this is what they call situational questions. Interviewers like these questions because they are able to draw from your experience to know how candidates have been able to handle these situations in the past. My advice to candidates on how you can answer this question is to use the acronym STAR. S for situation. Highlight the situation clearly on what exactly happened. 2, talk about the task. What was the task at hand that had to be done? 3, what was the action that you took? And then 4, what was the result of your action or non-action for that matter? So once you use this acronym, it's easy for the interviewer to see that you are being organized and chronological in how you approach these situations. Last but not least is the question on what are your salary expectations? What the employer here wants to see is your sense of self-worth, and they want to know whether you understand the value of that role within the organization. What I would advise candidates is to think clearly about what their value or what they think their value will be to the organization, and not to overinflate their sense of self-worth, and neither should they undervalue their sense of self-worth. It is important to also, in tandem with your knowledge or your research about the organization, to know what kind of organization it is, and therefore have an understanding or at least a band or a range, because then this gives you an indication of what kind of company it is, possibly their budget, or what would be available in terms of salary for that position. Thank you.